There's a Toyota rolling around Beijing right now with a heart that isn't Toyota at all. Pop the floor pan and you'll find a battery pack stamped with the logo of the one company Toyota spent 30 years refusing to depend on, BYD. Now folks, on the surface, that looks like surrender. It looks like the biggest, most disciplined automaker on the planet just waved a white flag to a Chinese battery maker. Trust me, that's not what happened here. What's actually going on is a lot smarter, and a lot colder than that. Toyota didn't get beat. Toyota made a calculated bet, using its rival's best weapon to survive on enemy turf, while it builds something far bigger behind closed doors. I've been following this industry a long time, and I don't say this lightly. This is one of the most fascinating chess moves I've seen out of a major automaker in years. So stick with me, because by the end of this video you're going to understand exactly why Toyota let a competitor's battery into its own cars, whether BYD's Blade battery lives up to the hype, and what Toyota is really building for the next decade. If you're new around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This channel covers the stuff happening under the hood of the global car industry that most outlets never touch. Let's back up for a second, because you need to understand who Toyota used to be before any of this makes sense. This is a company that built its entire empire on doing everything in-house. The Toyota production system is still taught in business schools as the gold standard for manufacturing discipline. The Prius practically invented mainstream hybrid driving. For years, Toyota looked at full electric vehicles the way a seasoned mechanic looks at a fad, skeptical, arms crossed, betting instead on hybrids and hydrogen because they figured the world wasn't ready to go all in on batteries. Then China stopped waiting around for anybody. New energy vehicles, that's the umbrella term over there covering full EVs and plug-in hybrids, crossed the 50% mark of all new car sales in the country. Combustion engines and traditional hybrids started bleeding market share. And I mean fast. Toyota and Volkswagen both watched their gas and hybrid sales drop somewhere between 15 and 20% in under a year and a half. Folks, that's not a slow fade. That's the ground shifting under your feet in the middle of a single product cycle. For Toyota, the writing on the wall was blunt. Adapt right now or get pushed clean out of the most important car market on Earth. And here's what makes this whole story worth telling. Toyota isn't some scrambling underdog trying to catch a trend it missed. This is the outfit every other manufacturer on the planet studied and copied for decades. Even that playbook had no answer for how fast the ground was moving in China. When a company like that gets caught flat-footed, that tells you the rules of the entire industry changed. And nobody, Toyota included, saw it coming quick enough. Here's the part most coverage of this deal skips right over. In an electric vehicle, the battery isn't just one part on a parts list. It's often 30 to 40% of the entire cost to build the car. Get that number wrong and your profit margin is gone before you sell a single unit. So Toyota had two options on the table. Build a battery supply chain from scratch, or go find one that already works. Building from zero meant billions in capital, years locking down lithium, nickel, and cobalt contracts, and a manufacturing learning curve measured in years, not months. Toyota didn't have years to burn. Every quarter it spent building its own battery ecosystem was another quarter watching Chinese competitors roll out new EVs while Toyota was still lining up raw materials. Money wasn't the obstacle here, time was. And time is the one thing you cannot manufacture no matter how deep your pockets are. So why BYD specifically? You've got to know where this company came from to understand why Toyota trusted it. BYD didn't start as a car company at all. It started in 1995 building batteries for cell phones, and only years later branched into automobiles. That history matters, because it means BYD controls its battery production from raw cell to finished pack, all in-house. That kind of vertical integration gives a company tight cost control and the ability to move fast without waiting on outside suppliers. Now let's get into the chemistry, because this is where it gets interesting. Most premium EVs run on NMC batteries, that's nickel manganese cobalt, and they pack in serious energy density, but you pay for it both in dollars and in risk, since NMC cells carry a real chance of thermal runaway. BYD went a completely different route with LFP, lithium iron phosphate. Cheaper raw materials, way more stable chemistry, a longer usable life measured in thousands of charge cycles, and none of that dependency on scarce, pricey metals. Then there's the engineering trick that gave the battery its name. Instead of stacking bulky modules with dead space in between, BYD arranges long, thin cells like blades directly inside the pack, skipping the module stage entirely. That single design choice boosts the pack's energy density by roughly 50% compared to a traditional LFP setup, while cutting weight and bulk at the same time. Put the cheaper chemistry and the smarter packaging together and the numbers really do speak for themselves.
Number 1. Longevity.
The Blade battery holds up past 3,000 charge cycles, which works out to somewhere around 745,000 miles of driving before you see any meaningful degradation.
Number 2. Cost.
Because it skips nickel and cobalt entirely, it runs roughly 20 to 30% cheaper to build than an NMC pack with the same capacity. For an outfit like Toyota, a company that's basically obsessed with cost control and safety in equal measure, that combination isn't just attractive, it's close to a no-brainer. If you want to see why Toyota actually trusts this battery, look at the nail penetration test. It's the most brutal stress test in the industry.
You take a fully charged cell and drive a nail straight through it. A standard NMC pack put through that test spikes past 900 degrees Fahrenheit almost instantly and erupts into flame. BYD's Blade battery, same exact test, holds a stable surface temperature somewhere between 86 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. No smoke, no fire, nothing. For Toyota, that one result carries more weight than any spec sheet ever could. Toyota's whole brand identity is built on a single word, reliability, and a battery that survives getting physically stabbed without turning into a fire hazard is the one thing that lets Toyota slap its badge on the hood without hesitation. And since LFP is naturally cheap to produce, it also lets Toyota compete on price in a market currently locked in a brutal, ugly price war. This alliance didn't happen overnight out of desperation either. It goes back to 2019, when Toyota and BYD formed a 50-50 joint venture called BYD Toyota EV Technology Company, built specifically for shared research and development. The division of labor is simple enough. BYD brings the EV platform, the Blade battery, the electric motors, and the software. Toyota brings the vehicle engineering, the suspension tuning, its own quality control standards, and decades of earned brand trust that money can't buy overnight. The clearest proof this partnership actually works is the Toyota BZ3 sedan, built specifically for the Chinese market. Strip the panels off and underneath you'll find BYD's battery and motor wrapped in Toyota's body styling and safety engineering. The price alone tells you how serious this is. It starts around $24,000, an aggressive number for anything wearing a Toyota badge. Buyers get a choice between a 49.9 or 65.3 kilowatt-hour Blade pack, good for somewhere between roughly 320 and 380 miles of range on China's official test cycle, with fast charging that takes it from 30 to 80% in just 27 minutes. What makes the BZ3 matter isn't just that it exists, it's what it proves. Toyota didn't have to burn years reinventing an EV platform from scratch. It took a battery and motor system already proven on Chinese roads, wrapped it in the engineering rigor Toyota is known for, and got a competitive product out the door in a fraction of the usual development time. This is where the old rulebook in this industry just stops applying. Toyota and BYD are direct competitors fighting over the exact same customers, and yet here they are co-developing technology together. Call it competition, rivals cooperating because pure rivalry alone just isn't survivable anymore. Sticking to strict silos, refusing on principle to work with the enemy, is a luxury nobody in this business can afford these days. And this isn't charity from BYD's side either. Partnering with Toyota validates BYD as a legitimate Tier 1 global technology supplier, not just a domestic Chinese brand, but a company serious automakers actually want to build with, and that kind of credibility is worth more than any marketing budget could buy. It also lets BYD monetize spare battery production capacity by selling to outside customers instead of letting it sit idle. So does this mean Toyota quietly gave up on being an engineering leader? That's the question I keep seeing pop up in the comments on videos like this one, and it's a fair one to ask. The more accurate read, though, is pragmatism over pride. Giving up a slice of self-sufficiency in the short term is a small price to pay for staying relevant in the most competitive car market on the planet. Because while the BZ3 rolls off the line, Toyota is quietly pouring resources into next-generation solid-state battery technology, targeting a commercial launch somewhere between 2027 and 2028. The target numbers on that thing are staggering, a driving range beyond 600 miles, with fast charging that puts most of that range back in around 10 minutes. The strategy, once you see it laid out, is hard to unsee. Use BYD's proven tech to survive the immediate EV wave in China right now, without burning years chasing a battery supply chain from zero. Meanwhile, keep the cash flowing in from a global hybrid business that BYD and most Chinese rivals simply don't have. Toyota moves more than 3.4 million hybrids worldwide every single year, generating billions in cash flow that funds this exact research without ever putting the company at financial risk.
Then funnel that money into the technological leap that could put Toyota back out front of the entire industry once solid-state batteries are actually ready for mass production. This isn't Toyota admitting defeat, folks. This is Toyota buying itself the runway to win later, on its own terms. Instead of fighting today's battle with tomorrow's unfinished technology. Step back and the whole picture comes into focus. This partnership wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a necessary, calculated pivot from a company willing to do whatever it takes to stay in the game. It shows just how far BYD has come from a phone battery maker to a legitimate global power player in energy technology. And it shows a side of Toyota most folks never get to see: ruthless agility when its survival is actually on the line. The bigger lesson here goes way past these two companies. In this business now, supply chain flexibility has quietly replaced pure self-sufficiency as the real competitive edge. The automakers still clinging to that old idea that everything has to be built in-house are the ones most likely to get left in the dust, while the ones willing to borrow, partner, and adapt are the ones still standing when it's all said and done. Pride doesn't win market share, adaptability does, and that's the honest truth of where this industry is headed. At the end of the day, this deal proves that even the most self-reliant automaker in the world had to bend when the market forced its hand, and that's exactly the kind of move that splits car folks right down the middle. Some of you are going to call this smart business. Others are going to call it a betrayal of everything Toyota used to stand for. So here's my question for you. Would you buy a Toyota knowing there's a BYD battery and motor underneath it? Or does that change how you feel about the badge on the hood? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear both sides of this one. And if you want to understand exactly how BYD went from an obscure battery startup to a company automotive giants and now begging to partner with, check out the video popping up on your screen right now. I guarantee it'll change how you look at this whole industry.